Next on my list of items from the past is Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT. A fabulous method that will help you heal the past, help you get back to the present moment, and even maybe reframe the future. But the key here is that you can first of all use these tapping points. Now, EFT is otherwise known as tapping. What's tapping? Well, as you saw in the present moment video on EFT, the example I gave, it's the meridian points of the body. The meridian points are in different locations right through these areas and under here too. And there's more, I'm sure, but these are the ones which they focus on in a tapping session. The first thing that the tapping does is it starts to get your mind and your body in a relaxed state. Similar to hypnosis, similar to many of the other methods I've got on the board here, we have to get ourselves from high thinking, which is called beta, and into alpha, which is that start half sleepy state. And then later on get it down into the deeper elements of delta and theta and so on. Because when you bounce around in those lower states, those lower energies where you're half snoozy and going to a deeper sleep, what happens is you get access to your unconscious mind, which is running the show. 100%. You think your conscious mind's running the show and then you wonder why weird things keep happening in life? That is the secret, your unconscious. And when you get that looped differently in your mind, you will heal the past. So EFT, what it does is it taps on those points, all the points that I mentioned previously, top of the head, your middle eye as they call it, the forehead, the side of the eye on the temple there, just tapping around there, the under the cheekbone, underneath the nose on the bone at the top of the teeth there, on the chin, in the collarbone here, the collarbone. And you can chop on this chopping point. You can then go underneath here and tap under the armpit, on the rib cage around there somewhere. So on that, probably the top of the rib cage. And the idea with these points is that you are accessing that relaxed state, which means you open up the unconscious. Now, once again, if you find yourself an EFT practitioner, someone who's trained, they can look at your specific issues and tap on those issues, saying them out loud in a variety of ways. Now, you go online and you will find a whole range of people that do different things with EFT. Now, I did kind of like, there's one method which is a bit simpler, and that's the one that I was mentioning from Robert Gene Smith, who talks about a much simpler method, where you don't use all of the points, here, 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 and here. You simplify it a little bit as you go through the tapping sequence. And so you'll start with just the forehead here, 4 or 5 times. You then move to the side of the eye, 4, 5, 6, 10, maybe 10 times. Depends on how hard and how frequently. I'm doing it quite quickly here, and I can feel it down in my stomach, can you believe? Under the eye, on the bone, on the cheekbone, and then bypass the other ones straight down to the collarbone. Breathing in, and then hold the wrist, breathing in deeply, breathe it all out, and say peace. It's a fabulous technique. I really enjoy it because that relaxes my system. Now, the next thing you do once you've done those tapping points, which is the old Chinese meridians from 3,000 years ago they discovered, is you start to say the words out loud that are your issue. So you might say, I am anxious. I know I'm anxious. Even though I'm anxious, I still love and accept myself. Even though I am anxious, I still love and accept myself. Even though I've got these anxious thoughts, I love and accept myself. All those anxious thoughts, I still love and accept myself. Hold the wrist, breathe in, breathe out, and say peace. Now imagine a balloon filled with helium, floating away up into the sky, getting smaller and smaller, further and further away, and further and further away until it's just a dot. That's right. Now we continue the tapping sequence, and now we actually can use this tapping to put another message into our mind to let it go. Fabulous technique. So let's do it again. All that anxiety, I can release and let it go. I release and let it go because I'm actually very safe. All that anxiety, all that tension, all that overthinking, I release and let it go because I'm safe. In this room, right now, everything around me is very safe. All that anxiety, all that tension, I release and let it go. 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 All that tension, all that overthinking, I'm safe now. Release and let it go. I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. Hold your wrist, breathe in. Peace. Now one more time. All that tension, release and let it go. I am safe in this room right now. Release and let it go. Release and let it go. Release and let it go. All that tension in my body, go the other side. Release and let it go. Release and let it go. Release and let it go. All that tension in my body, I can release and let it go now because I am safe. I am so very safe. And I love myself. Let it go. Let it go. All that tension, all that stress, release and let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I am safe. Hold your wrist. Breathe in. Let it all out. And say the word peace. And now put your hands down. Breathing in. And you now can relax. How do you feel? Made a difference, didn't it? I'd be fascinated to know. Please put your comments and let me know how that went for you. I would love to hear how you guys have released some of that tension. And this is what Robert Gene Smith talks about, his emotional toothbrush. So if you've got build up on the system, this is his way of releasing it. Now, if you're with a EFT practitioner, they can help you release some very specific and detailed issues inside that amygdala, the emotional master of the brain. So if you've got some issues going on inside you, go find yourself an EFT practitioner and they will be able to help. It's just another pathway into the brain.